Morning, everyone. You're listening to WXDU Durham, 88.7 FM. It's now time for Out There a Minute, our weekly, normally jazz show on Sunday mornings. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and I would say perhaps even more fun than jazz, which is not meant to be blasphemy for anyone who normally is expecting jazz here. It is my real pleasure to welcome Azul to the studio.
Hello.
Say hi, Azul.
Hello, everybody. My name is Azul Zapata. I am a jazz lover, and I am not playing jazz for you today.
And guess what? That's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay, and it's actually it's more than okay. It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Give
Yeah.
the people a break.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're also joined by Bethany, sitting over there, who does not have a mic presently because she's
Standing.
Yeah, she's standing. She's too far from the mic, but we'll hear from you in a moment. But she just laughed.
Yeah.
Okay.
She giggled.
So I'm really excited to hear y'all play some music. But first, just tell the people a little bit about what we are going to hear, and then we can talk.
Okay.
A little bit after that. What are we going to hear?
So the pieces I prepared today for you chefs is I wanted to bring some of the songs that people might have already heard at my shows and things that they haven't heard yet at my shows. So the first one that I was going to play today is my song Sharks. It is everywhere available on the internet. I always do a little intro before Sharks. Should I do my little intro before Sharks?
What do you talk like a?
I talk about sharks.
Like a banter.
It's a banter.
Intro?
It's
Yeah,
a banter
of course,
intro.
of course. You
Okay.
do the.
So I'll do that, and then and then for my second song, we don't know what it'll be yet, but it'll be something that I don't play very often, and it's probably not something that's going to be recorded in the near future. It's just something that I wanted to share with people, and I think it deserves to be on the airwaves, and I wanted to give it its chance in the sun, and then. If we get to the third one, it'll probably be a song that is being in the process of being recorded, and will maybe be released in the next 16 months. I'm giving myself a lot of cushion time.
I was about to say, careful what you promise, but then you said 16 months, and I'm like, well, that's fair enough. All right.
People won't remember by the time.
That's right. That's right.
But it's in the process of being recorded, and I'm happy to talk about that process because I'm getting some really, really cool people involved. And then I brought a little sneaky something to share.
Oh my.
It will be. I've been told by several people to not do this, but I don't listen.
I'm here to enable whatever your sneaky behavior is.
My sneaky behavior today. We'll play a little bit of something that is ripping and raring to go. Like it's ready to. It will be out this summer.
Amazing.
It is going to be a summer jam, and we brought just a little taste, a little amuse-bouche.
An amuse-bouche, an aperitif.
Aperitif, yes.
Indeed. Okay, wow. It's a stacked agenda for today. I'm excited.
I came to deliver bright and early because I am a morning person.
Good. Okay, yeah. I worry sometimes about bringing people into the studio at 10 a.m.
I'm not a morning person.
Bethany is not a morning person. I had to bribe her with a large Americano and snacks.
All right. Well, that's how you compensate a musician, folks. One coffee and some snacks. They'll do anything. All right. Well, I'll I appreciate that intro so much. I'm really excited for what y'all have in store, and I will turn it over to you as you intro us into Sharks. Yeah. Again, you're listening to WXDU Durham 88.7 FM. We're live in the studio with Azul Zapata.
So, I know a lot of people know random facts about sharks, but did you know that they are the type of organism that if they stop moving, this toxin builds up inside of their system and it causes them to pass away. And I learned this fact late at night watching Shark Week a few years ago, and it really hit me in a way that I wasn't ready for, and I thought to myself, wow, I guess I'm a little bit like that. Maybe people are a little bit like that when they stop moving and they stop taking care of themselves and they stop taking care of the people around them, they don't do so well either. So I wrote this song as a mantra for myself, and I hope you enjoy sharks. Doing nothing instead of something is how you lose. It burns more like drowning, like ice should. It'll stop your heart, won't let you catch your breath. It'll hold you still, neither sing nor swim. All right, Durham, take a big, deep breath with me. You ready? Sing more songs and lovers love, and you'll never be lonely. You gotta play more games and players play, and you'll find the world is so funny. You gotta wake up and choose how you gonna make your moves. You gotta wake up and choose how you gonna make your moves. You gotta tell the world how you're doing fine, and you'll never run out of time. You're gonna lie awake in the lion's lair when you finally learn how to truly care. You gotta wake up and choose how you're gonna make your moves. You gotta wake up and choose how you're gonna make your moves. 'Cause doing nothing instead of something is how you lose. It burns more like drowning, like ice should. It'll stop your heart, won't let you catch your breath. It'll hold you still, neither sing nor swim. You better sing more songs and lovers love, and you'll never be lonely. You gotta play more games than players play, and you'll find the world is so funny. You gotta wake up and choose how you gonna make your moves. You gotta wake up and choose how you gonna make your
Wow.
Yay.
Hot dog.
Hot dog.
You better make your moves.
You better make those moves.
Wowza.
You better wake up. It is 10 a. It's past 10 a.m., folks.
Yeah, if anyone was not awoken, they are thoroughly awoken. That was incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. And now Bethany's going to be on the mic with me.
Yeah, Bethany's back into business. Say hello.
Hello.
Bethany. Okay, so obviously this song is inspired somewhat by Shark Week, somewhat by your metaphors related to shark behavior and biology. Can you tell me a little more lyrically about, I guess what else you drew inspiration from?
I write,
that?
yeah. So I write a lot of like tiny little pieces of things that are not always meant to be together. And I write them in my phone, or I write them in my journals, or, they're just kind of all over the place. And then I sit down and I start to say, I guess this might be the like ADD of it all, of like, oh, I think I was talking about this thing. And I just start to like piece things together. So I think I had the lines, doing nothing instead of something is how you lose. It burns more like drowning, kind of like ice, or like ice would. And I think that was just like a couplet or something that I wrote for myself of the immense pressure of that like anxiety, but also kind of that frozen feeling that we sometimes get when we're like not in a great place mentally or emotionally. And sometimes being still with it is what you need to do. And then sometimes you got to shake it off and be like, all right, what am I going to do next? Like, how am I going to rise above what I'm doing? And I feel like I have a little bit of that personality that's like, okay, I'm stuck. How do I get unstuck? And the other kind of like where the kind of like the ramping up type of things is like, because I think I'm a very social person.
I would agree with that.
Says one of my very introverted friends. Yes, I would agree that you are social. Yeah. I get this like this, I don't know, feeling inside of like sometimes I have to do more than what I think I need to do. So you have to sing more songs than lovers love, you know, and then you'll never be lonely. And you got to play more games than players play. And then you'll find the humor in what it means to be alive. And you'll find the humor of how funny. We're all just trying to figure it out. And nobody has the answer. So sometimes you just got to keep going.
Keep trying.
And keep trying. Keep
exploring.
Yeah. So that's like kind of where that comes from.
Yeah. It's a lovely message. And I also hear in you saying that this is not just a message that you think might benefit the world, but one that is sort of like self-reflective.
Oh,
you know, at
most
the
of
core
my
of
stuff
it.
is very self-reflective. Like most of the stuff is like, I don't know why I am. Well, I have ideas, but maybe not for the airwaves, of why my songs tend to be so deeply personal. And I just want to connect with other people. I think at the end of the day, like I just really, really want to feel connected to other people and them to know that I see them even if they're not doing well, and then maybe they could see me, that I'm not always doing well, even though I'm like a shiny pretty thing sometimes. So that's the message.
Wait, shiny doesn't equal doing well?
Yeah.
Is that
Did you know?
Did you know?
God. Did you know?
I've been living life wrong.
Yeah. Being shiny and active and all over the place doesn't always mean that you're doing well. Sometimes it shows that you're really not doing well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a 1-to-1, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Shades of gray and all.
Okay, that's lovely. I appreciate all that insight, and I would be remiss if I did not do my icebreaker, which clearly the ice is no longer here.
Yeah.
We were just swimming with sharks, but I did mention that I would not tell you what my icebreaker was. So
I've been nervous. Go ahead.
That is your phone filming, correct?
Yes, that is my phone.
Okay, so we can't do that. All right. Do you remember the last thing you searched on Google?
Besides how to get here?
Yeah, that's not very interesting.
That's not very interesting. I think the last thing I Googled was, this morning I Googled if rhododendrons are poisonous to dogs.
Okay. So
so the leaves are poisonous, and like an animal, dogs have to eat quite a bit of it for it to be like really, it like causes some kind of neurological. I'm not trying to scare people, but so I have a new puppy. She's 6 months old.
Wow.
She's a Great Pyrenees. Her name is Juno.
So cute.
She's so cute. She's over 50
like
pounds.
I was about to say she's gonna be enormous.
My goal is to make sure that she's the size of a couch, like a small couch.
Yeah. So you can sit on her when you're tired.
Either sit on lean or use her as like a cup holder of
drink
some
stand.
kind. But so she's doing pretty typical like livestock guardian dog things, which is like they find nests and they like do stuff. So we have a decent backyard, and we have this giant rhododendron bush. And she has decided that that's her nesting area.
Oh, good.
Yeah, great. And so she goes out and she goes under there, and then she pulls at branches so that she has enough space. And I was like, she's not chewing on the branches, she's not chewing on the leaves, but like I know enough about plants to know that sometimes just like the sap of like breaking twigs and branches like can release stuff that we don't want. So that's why I Googled it this morning. But she's fine.
Okay, so you feel comfortable with her just nesting, as you say.
As nesting. I know she doesn't actively eat the leaves, which is where most of the stuff is, and she doesn't mess with the flowers. I haven't seen any kind of weird behavior out of her. She's still a gorgeous little...
Just doing puppy things.
Just doing puppy things and
It's
chewing
beautiful.
everything in sight.
I once worked at a farm where we had my boss got a Great Pyrenees puppy, and she got the dog because she had chickens, and like she genuinely wanted it for its livestock guarding purposes. But man, before it was like livestock mode, that dog was so much dog.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that they're hard to train also, or they just take a long time.
They
to
take
get
a
them
much
to that
longer
training.
time to get to the training point. But my wife and I, we have done we did a lot of research before we got the dog. And we kind of got set up, like we knew where we wanted to take her for classes and get her socialized, and it is possible. Like I'm a part of so many Facebook groups about Great Pyrenees.
Yeah.
She's a good dog.
They're
They're doing a good job with her.
She
does already have like the livestock guardian thing. I feel like if I am over for rehearsal and I leave the room, like she'll go herd me back in. She'll like follow me out and like get me back into the rehearsal space. And yeah,
She thinks you're a sheep.
I think so.
And you've left the flock.
I'm happy to let her go on believing that. And
I also
That's
have 3
beautiful.
cats, and she herds the cats.
Oh, that's
She's literally a cat herder.
notoriously a hard thing to do. But not for
famously.
Not for Juno.
Juno.
Juno
Wow.
said, "I got this."
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Do they like it? They don't.
I was gonna say
Probably
it.
not. But
Much to the cat's chagrin.
they're terrified, I'm sure. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a hard pivot to some more musically centered questions because in theory that is why you came here. but dogs
Not
are pretty
for
cool.
Gardening advice and shark
Yeah.
facts.
No, that's for the second hour of this
Okay.
interview.
You got it.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
So I am curious to hear about your history with music, both as an individual and with this band that you have cultivated. So maybe just start with like the early days, how you got exposed to different inspirations, and then how you started playing music in whatever form that was.
Yeah. So I think I need to preface with the fact that I'm originally from Argentina. And that's why my name is Azul Zapata. And I am really, lucky that I had parents who were constantly playing music in the house and all different kinds of music. And they brought CDs over with them from Argentina, whether or not they were, the best CD sound, just, like just pirated stuff. They brought a bunch of stuff. So I grew up listening to like Argentinian folk, like Mercedes Sosa. And then that kind of like turned, my parents also really liked like 60s, 70s rock from Argentina, and then 80s rock from Argentina. So like I have all this like music that is Latin-esque, but also very like rock and folk. And then just growing up in the US, and my dad, I would say, is he collects music, and he gets kind of like obsessed with different things. And like he has eclectic taste, as does my mom. And and I just was, I'd be like, oh, CD, put it in. Oh, CD, put it in. And I would just listen to music, and I didn't have any boundaries on that in the house.
Yeah.
So like Tony Braxton was in the house, the Bodyguard soundtrack, which I think changed my life. Celine Dion, Ricky Martin, Shania Twain. Like 1997 was like a huge year of music. And then also in 1997 was my little brother, and he was born, and my brother's a musician as well.
Gotcha.
He went the more like classical side, but he is like incredibly creative. And I think my music was so like based off of like the little bubble that I lived in with my family. And I had very different tastes from like the people that I was growing up with. And like when jazz came into my house, and like I was listening to like Chet Baker in like middle school, which probably made me kind of a morose child.
Yeah, he's not always the cheeriest cat.
And then in middle school is also when I picked up the trumpet. And my brother and I, we've always been I would like to say it was always healthy competition, but it's probably not healthy competition. We would have these battles. I can't believe I'm talking about this, but when we had to clean up the table after dinner, we would have these battles of like, okay, I'm gonna sing this Whitney Houston song and you're gonna sing what? Oh, okay, this song from Dreamgirls, who's gonna sing it better? And like that's how that's, and or like, oh, we're gonna do this song from Chicago, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna flip the script on you and I'm gonna sing a Mercedes Sosa song. And we do like 3 rounds of, the kitchen would eventually get clean, but it was more about this.
Not very quickly.
And not very quickly. And our parents just like, it wasn't good all the time, but like we did our 10,000 hours in the kitchen, just my brother and I screaming in each other's faces, like all these different songs. And then I feel like when I started to, you know, do trumpet more and like do that at school, it was like that's when I started playing with other people and listening to other people. And I did marching band, and then I got exposed to like, you know, everyone had a guy friend that played guitar. I had one of those. I had 2 of those. They had very different tastes, and so I started to sing with them. Then I was the girl that sang with the guy with the guitar, and I decided eventually,
a memoir. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really like that. I feel caged in. I still feel boxed in. But I was always writing things for myself. And then I went to college, and I thought that, okay, put music to the side. It's not what you're supposed to do. You need to be serious. It's not a career. It's not a career. You can't make money from that. And so I went to UNC Chapel Hill. I was in an a cappella group that took up 85% of my time. And then I didn't get any of the jobs that I wanted after I graduated. So I said, I'm going abroad, and I lived in France for a little bit. And in France is when I gave myself, I'm giving you like the full abridged version of this, is when I gave myself the permission to be a musician. And I was like Batman. So during the day, I took care of little kids. And
just like Batman.
Just like
just like Bruce Wayne always did.
And at night, I would get on 2 buses and a tram and get to the center of the city and go to like jazz jams or like underground hip hop stuff. And like that was my life. And so it was weird, I think, for the host family that I was with, my bosses. They were like, oh, I was in the grocery store and like people said like that you did a great job the other night, and they're like, what are they talking about? I was like, I'm a secret musician.
You're like, I've been fighting crime.
Fighting crime with my vocals.
Oops.
But yeah, and then when I came back to the US, I said, okay, I'm gonna come back and try to do this thing. And so I started writing for real, and I went to every single open mic, and I was in another group called Fluorescence for like a duo. It was an electric pop kind of synthy sounding thing for 2 years. I learned a lot from that experience. And then in 2018, I was like, I gotta do my own thing. And so that's when I started to build sound around me with different players and things like that. But one of the main things that I said, I was like, I'm not going to be the only woman on stage. If I'm on stage, I'm not going to be the only woman on stage. So I either tried to be in bills with other women, or if I was going to play a show, there had to be either a person of color, a queer person, or a female presenting type person or non-binary person. Because I was like, I can't be the intersection of all these different things. And that me just me be the one. So I couldn't
be the one representative of your
several
identities.
Yeah. So that's how we got to today. So 2018 to 2024. I have a very solid, beautiful band that I love dearly. But they know, they all have their own individual projects, and they're all very busy people. And so I also, I have a rotating cast of folks that kind of support me and play with me. Bethany is my keyboardist and one of my background vocals, and she does a great job.
Yes, she does. Can you talk about that, like managing the revolving cast of musicians? I mean, it sounds like at this current moment, it's maybe a pretty stable arrangement.
Depends on the gig. Depends
on the gig. Yeah, I guess just for you as the composer and band leader, and the central pillar of this band. What is that like? When you have, I mean, not necessarily the logistics of how you manage that, but how do you manage that, I guess, creatively when you have to bring someone else in for a key instrumental role? how does that affect your actual like musical performance?
I tried to, I mean, it forced me to get more organized, and even I'm still not at the level of organized that I want to be. So like Bethany was in the trenches in the beginning days. So I'm like, here's a chart written by my best friend and co-producer, Alex Thompson. He has absolute pitch, and he writes his charts the way we can't slam him on the internet.
I know. I love Alex Thompson, and he's an incredible musician. The way he writes charts drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But
so, and Bethany, between us, like me teaching songs, like it's gotten all progressively better, and I've had to become a better communicator of my of what I want, and I've had to become a better band leader, so that I can, no matter who's playing with me, I can be like, okay, this is what I want. This is how we're going to do it.
Right.
Let's run it a few times. I think something that does help a lot is that I try to do like a little bit of a one-on-one session before I throw people into the wolves.
Oh, yeah.
Or, try to send them the music, either demos or charts or all that stuff beforehand. I try to give people enough time and space to like do stuff, and so
to process before they hit the stage with you.
they hit the stage with me.
That's
like that's all. And then I think not just, and Bethany can maybe speak to this because this is all from my head.
Sure.
I really try to balance of like, I'm the lead center person. This is all coming from my head. This is all coming from my heart. But I can't make this music without you. So I need to show how much I respect you guys. And I need to show, like, be open, be permeable to how they might think about something. Because they could definitely, like, things have improved just from, like, someone speaking up in rehearsal and saying, like, Azul, what about this? Or, like, Azul, what about this hit here? Or how about we take this out? And it's been so helpful.
Very collaborative.
Okay.
I think you do a great job of like getting the emotional message across and saying like, this is what this song feels like to me, this is what it's about, this is what I'm trying to convey, and then allowing us to kind of speak to the specifics and be like, okay, well, this, I feel like this bass line is gonna complement this drum groove that you're doing, and like whatever. So in that way it feels very open and collaborative. Yeah.
Great. I've never asked them.
It was like, great, that is the
what
correct
if I was
answer.
just like, no, you're a diva and it's awful.
Well, I do recognize
bold question
that
to ask on Live on the Air. And be like, all right, tell me what you really think.
But that's the thing is that, like, I think I've learned from being in other situations and with other musicians of like, I don't feel like I have the space to say what I want to say. And so it's not just this revolving door of musicians, it's people that I trust at the end of the day. So I think that's another reason that I don't play with just anybody. I play with people that I trust, that are gonna take care of me, not just musically, but like help me hold a space, because it's not just the music in itself, because for me, performing and doing a show is like I'm holding a space for people to feel a certain way, and I want it to feel safe. And if I don't trust the people on stage helping me make that space, it's hard. It's like, it's clunky. It could feel, like,
as I was gonna say, like, I think part of bringing in another musician, which you were asking about, Spencer, or just like being on stage in general as a performer, you know, in rehearsals, you have to be listening and be giving feedback and all this stuff. But then when you get on stage specifically, you have to kind of trust your band to like do what they're going to do and allow you to be in the moment and connecting with the audience and focusing on your own instrument, which is your voice and your trumpet, and just like trusting and letting go a little bit, which is
very hard.
And from my experience, like in my own projects, that's hard to do. So
it's a lot of trust.
Yeah, that's really sweet though. I like that it is, you framed it as less transactional than just, I'm hiring a musician to sort of come in and like do the part exactly as I want it. It's, there's more depth to it.
There is a transactional part of it.
Well, I mean, not to downplay the reality for other musicians.
Yeah, but. I think because I, especially at the beginning of last year, I think I told my bandmates, I'm like, I'm gonna start paying for rehearsals.
Word.
Yeah, so like if when you show up to rehearsal and I've given you ample time to learn this music, that's what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
And we do have contracts in place of like, I have just found that we can do that squishy kind of like space because we have guidelines in place that are very clear that we've all agreed upon. Yeah. And that has allowed be like, so nothing, if anything were to go wrong, we have the tools to have conversations about it, and nothing really goes wrong.
No,
and
it doesn't.
I also really work with positive reinforcement. So if certain band members, they know that like, I know maybe like money doesn't really, obviously money is important, but like they like pins, like little like enamel pins. I do little collections of enamel pins. I'm like, all right, you show up to a rehearsal and the show 3 times before me, you get a pin.
Wow.
So positive reinforcement
you
also
get
helps.
Flair.
Or an Americano and snacks.
Yeah, or Americano and snacks. Or a lot of my secondhand stage costumes also go directly to Bethany.
Yes, we share a lot of
She gets first pick. So I feel there's nobody else that gets first pick to my closet before Bethany.
Really
who needs money when you can raid Azul's
I know.
closet?
Like I would spend my money on clothes and shoes anyway. So we're just cutting
like
out the middleman,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Speaking of, she is wearing my old shoes.
I literally am wearing a pair of shoes that you gave me.
Right.
Yeah.
Duly noted. Duly noted. Well, that is excellent. Why don't we get back to the music? What's in store for us next?
Let me help Bethany move her headphones.
Yeah, while Azul is helping Bethany move her headphones, I'm going to read a quick PSA. Because that is something I'm supposed to do. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to WXDU Durham 88.7 FM. I'm in the studio with Azul Zapata, joined by keyboardist Bethany, and they're going to get to some music in just a moment. El Futuro is a volunteer nonprofit outpatient clinic meeting the need for bilingual mental health services for the growing Latino immigrant community in North Carolina. They offer bilingual individual, group, and family therapy, psychiatric treatments, substance use assessments and services, and more. You can learn how to get involved at elfuturo-nc.org. Awesome. So, what do you have in store for us now?
Just quick on that PSA, I love El Futuro. I give to them every single year.
Sweet.
I've known about them since I was in college, and I have volunteered with them when I was back in college. When I was in journalism, I did a piece on them, and I think they're a great organization. And interestingly enough, the song I'm going to sing next is half in Spanish. So
that was not
that
intentional.
was not intentional,
but we love serendipity.
Yeah,
here. Okay.
So this next song is called Tango Memoria. Like I said before, I'm originally from Argentina, and tango is one of the major exports from Argentina. I learned how to dance tango since I was like 12, 11. And my maternal grandmother, Abuela Mimi, I have a tattoo of her signature on my arm. She was a dancer. She was a mover. I think a lot of my personality traits come from her. The talking, the loudness, the moving, like, she was a lot. I have some videos of her that I probably will start to share with folks, but she unfortunately passed away in 2019, and I did get to spend kind of like I spent like a week with her before she passed, and she had a pretty aggressive form of cancer, and she just wasn't that person anymore. She wasn't that like mover, that shaker. She was like, she could outdance everybody. Like, she could cook the dinner and then be dancing until 5 a.m. with all the kids. Like, that's the kind of person that she was. And towards the end of her life, she was like, she constantly was just like, she's like, I don't want you to see me like this. Like, this is not me. This is not this is not who I want you to remember me of. And so I wrote this song. Unfortunately, I never got to share it with her. But it's about, remembering the best parts of the people that we love, even though they're not with us anymore, and honoring the work that they did and letting go of maybe the things that they were holding on to. So yeah, this is Tango Memoria.
Amazing. Maybe a little more.
I'm not getting any signal right now.
Oh, there
we go. Haha.
Okay.
Button.
Or if you need me to.
te queda de mí, que sea ternura y fuerza y recetas de amor para aliviar las heridas del pasado y nunca olvidar el calor de un abrazo. Por favor, recuérdame cómo estuve siempre en el sol y lleno de amor. Remember me, how I was, what I wanted to be. It would mean so much to me. Take care of your time, don't try to win the whole fight. I don't need your anger, I need your mind. The memory of our I need you to remember me, how I was, what I wanted to be. It would mean so much to me. Recuérdame cómo estuve siempre en el sol y lleno de amor. Recuérdame en el sol lleno de amor.
Amazing. Wow.
Thanks.
That was really beautiful. And you know, you mentioned that your music is very personal, and I think hearing that setup and that context you gave about your relationship with your grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, obviously you can hear that song on its own without that and feel something, but yeah, that was really special to hear.
Oh, thanks.
And I also got to remind myself, I do sort of still understand Spanish. Always in the sun, full of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. The warmth of a hug, stuff like that.
You
It's
got it.
Very
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Recetas de amor.
Recetas de amor?
Recetas is recipes of love. So
nice.
my grandmother was an incredible cook.
Yeah.
Like, and she could look at an empty pantry and be like, okay, I have lunch. Like,
Amazing.
she was like one of those people.
Yeah.
Definitely killed a chicken in front of me a few times. like,
Yeah.
like she's like, okay, but she would make that chicken last all week.
Wow.
Like, that's the kind of, she was, you know, she taught herself English. She taught herself how to be on, she taught herself how to swim at like 70 years old. She taught herself how to work on computer, like be on email. And like, she was a very, I think maybe from her and like obviously different parts of my life, I get that kind of like, just figure it out.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
that's
there,
sharks,
just,
right?
Yeah, just figure it out.
Start doing the thing that you
she
need to do.
She wasn't great at the stillness part. But
yeah, but like a shark.
yeah, she's a shark.
She's like, I literally can't stay still. So, okay. Awesome.
Wiggle even when you're sleeping.
So I'm gonna ask a couple more questions.
Sweet.
Which is, I guess, my job. So
Do your job.
you've mentioned both performing live, and you've hinted at some of the recording work. But I always like to ask musicians: is there one that you prefer, or at least right now, is there one that is giving you more zhuzh? You know.
They're just so, I think Bethany and I were talking about this. We didn't get to really finish our conversation, but like, they're just so different parts of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like how it's in the studio. I don't work with like a lot of people in the studio. It's typically me, my co-producer, Alex Thompson, and then the head engineer of the studio I mostly work at, Brett Scott at B&B Audio. It's mostly just the three of us. And then if we have like an instrumentalist coming in to play, it's that person. Like, I don't like a lot of people in the studio. It's just it's very small. It's very intimate. I have to, it requires a level of focus that is both very fun to tap into, but also sometimes hard to tap into, because especially for singing, like if you want to get those clean takes and you want to be able to replicate them later to do like doubles and like all that kind of stuff, like you have to be in like a completely different channel, like a different, like it takes, for me personally, maybe again it's the ADD, but like it's hard for me to get in there. But
Mm-hmm.
when we're like creating something and it's me and Alex Thompson, I'm just like, well, what about this? What if we do this? What's that, input that we used like 2 years ago that has that one sound in it that we both really liked? And like that kind of stuff is so fun. And it's like so freeing to be able to work. Again, it's with people you trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I love doing that, but in small quantities.
Sure.
Whereas like
okay.
I could go out and perform for days.
Okay.
And that's like a different vibe entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Like the studio is more draining to me because it requires that focus, but it also fills me because then I get to walk away with like something that I get to hold. So I'm not answering your question really. I'm just kind of like
it's okay.
talking through it of like I like both, but I also hate both in a different way. Like
okay. Yeah. Please.
If it is.
Nope, it's not on.
Oh, huh.
My bad. But
No, I was just saying like it's exactly the same for me.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to you answer that question and being like, God, yeah, I love being in the studio because you get that physical thing at the end and you're like, I created this. I get to look at it and, well, technically no, listen to it, but
sure.
You feel like it's a very tangible outcome. But then performing is the fun part. Like, it's so much fun. And I couldn't choose.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully you don't have to, and I'm not forcing you to choose.
Yeah, we don't have to choose, but because of financial restraints,
Uh-huh.
typically, going into the studio part and like getting what you want and getting the quality of what you want. That's something that I also am like very adamant about. I was like, I don't want to just put something together. I want it to sound how it sounds in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to happen, I do need a live strings, and I do need, like one of the best bass players in the Triangle area, and like.
Do you mean DJ Richardson, the
mean
hardest working man in show business?
Yes, yeah. I do mean DJ Richardson. Yeah, and and I do want some of the best like backing vocals that you can get in our area, or like just people that are different and that I admire. Like it takes time and money to do it, and it's so intricate. And then there's so many things about, and I'm trying to learn from my collaborators about how it actually all works, because I like to absorb. But there's so many things of like. There's so like the type of tubes inside of a microphone can change the way that my voice sounds. And but it's also really fun to get lost in those intricacies and
the rabbit holes
holes of it all. Really are fun to get lost in, and it's all beautiful, but then like the ephemerality, I don't know if that's a word,
sure. It is now.
Of being on stage, and like it's that moment and it's those people at that time, and how you were feeling in your body in that day, and how your bandmates are feeling in their body on that day, and it's that sound engineer person doing your sound, and like there's so many like wild card elements that you can't control in a live performance that is also so fun. So I think I love the control, but I also love the chaos.
I love the relinquishment of control. Yeah. I think I'm not huge on my philosophers, but I think it was Wittgenstein who said something about
I believe you.
Music is the answer because of its ephemerality, because you can play a recording, but like your experience of it is like solely necessarily internal, and as soon as it passes, it's gone, and it just forces you to be present. And it reminded me of that. But it, while the studio is also this huge collaborating, network of people coming together with their skills, so too, like you mentioned with the live show, I mean, it's a lot of people getting on board to just make either of these two things happen
30
well.
to 45 minutes of music.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Or
it's crazy.
Unless you have one of those grueling days that's like 3 hours of music in a park.
Yeah,
those are different.
Those are exhausting.
Those are brutal. But man, those people in the park, those dogs had a great day.
Those squirrels had a great day.
Lives.
They're like, oh wow, she really did just pull a Cher impression just out of nowhere.
Wow, I didn't have to pay any cover. This is great.
This is great.
Wow. Okay, I love that. Speaking of you being funny, which we weren't, but you were doing it. So. And you mentioned this before, Sharks, that you have, I mean, that wasn't really a banter as much as a genuine intro. But I've seen you perform. I know who you are, and banter is sort of a thing, a part of your personality, I might say.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how, because last time I saw you, it was clear that this was not just something you happened to be doing during your live show, but it was clearly an intentional but also authentic thing you were doing. And I'm just curious how that kind of developed as something you were confidently able to do and integrate into a live show.
I feel like Bethany is staring a hole into my head.
I am not.
She's staring at you because
she
you're
knows,
talking.
Yeah. But so I would say that I've come a long way with my banter.
Yeah.
It used to just be a fire hose.
This is true.
One strategy.
One strategy was a fire hose, and then I started asking for feedback and be like, hey, how can I make my live shows better? And a lot of the feedback was like, you don't need to talk that much. And so I was like, okay. But I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, why is it like that? And going back to like the chaos of music on stage, I thrive on like the input of all that music.
Yeah.
And then in between the songs, there's no more of it. And my brain is still like switched on to be like, out, like, so like I have to control like the amount of in and out that's coming out of my body from like we were just doing a song which requires a lot of focus and a lot of attention, and I'm still on that blah, 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 like just like whatever kind of mode. And so I have had to pull back. I have to tell myself literally before I go on stage, be like, be a little bit more mysterious, Azul.
Okay.
Be a little bit, it's okay. You don't have to give them everything.
Right.
But I think and it also really just depends on my mood that day. There's some days where I'm like, I don't want to talk. I just want to sing the songs and I want to get out of here. And it also depends on the type of show. But there are things that I have practiced. I will stand in front of my mirror and practice them. There are things that I'm now in rehearsal. I'll be like, hey guys, how does this hit? Like, it's like I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm like practicing my bits. Like, and this is very recent that I'm doing this, which I'm glad that from my one audience member, they're like, hey, it sounds good. I liked it. It was good. Yeah. So sometimes it's like things that I have practiced, but also I think if I could just open my brain and let people see how many times a day I make myself laugh.
Right.
like
they don't get it.
They don't understand.
It's not for them.
It's not for
you.
It's for me. But there's times when like we're on stage and I just maybe sang like a excruciatingly painful song and everyone's like, oh wow, and their feelings, and I'm thinking about something really stupid.
I'm just thinking like meow meow meow, 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 meow.
And then I have to like turn my back and look at my drummer and be like, like, we have shared many of us a stare, and I've definitely shared a stare with TJ and with Beth. Everyone on stage.
Yeah, sure.
I'll be like, I can't calm down.
right.
Like my body is processing like Land Before Time memes in real time.
Yeah.
Like,
man.
Yeah.
That sounds challenging. A good thing you have a receptive band who are like, shut up, be Azul. Like, no. We see you and no.
Yeah.
We were literally just talking today about how like I really need to get better at controlling my face on stage, because sometimes Azul will say something so off the cuff and like I know I've had audience members say to me like, you make the funniest faces standing behind her playing keys, and I'm like, I truly am not trying to.
Like that was not the goal, but thanks.
She's trying so hard to like,
faces,
what is she going to do next?
Right.
What is she going to do next? And like TJ, he's like Mr. like cold face. Like he's a stone. Emily sometimes like with her glasses, like sometimes you can't really see what she's thinking. Yeah. But Bethany is like typically in the spotlight,
open book,
and she's like, "What? Where is this going? Who? Yeah. Why are we talking about the Soviet Union? Like that doesn't make any sense."
She's like the what do you call that thing in the old Greek plays? Like the
chorus.
The chorus.
Yeah,
who's just like, hey, we're watching this too. Isn't this crazy?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
she's your one person chorus.
Yeah, she's my one person chorus. Yeah.
Hey, you said you wanted more mystery in your shows. If that mystery is not knowing what she's going to say, so be it.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
I'm good. I'm glad. And then there's sometimes when it like, but it's also like I love interacting with the crowd.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's
And because I feel like I'm giving you a hard time. You are very good at like interacting with the
Thank
crowd
you.
and making it, making them part of the show, and just being, being
it's not
fun
just
and-
about me. Like
yeah.
to me, like
Sure.
the show, I am performing for people, and I'm also performing for my bandmates. Like they're my hardest critics. If I can make
Apparently,
I can make them laugh in the middle of a show,
True.
that's all I want in life.
Right.
There's
It's just gravy on top if
Yeah,
the
it's
audience
just-
enjoys
at
it.
the end, if everyone else is having a good time, that's great. I was like, I'm just trying to make these guys laugh.
Sure, sure. It's a smaller
Yeah.
clientele to
Yeah.
be targeting.
And you can, because they put up with me so much
Mhm.
all the time. But I also think that, I mean, every person that grows up being a class clown
Mhm.
is like the type of person, then you're like, oh, that person's so funny all the time.
Mhm.
You should check on that person eventually.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
because that, like we were kind of talking about, like that shiny bright person all the
Yep.
time. I genuinely, like, I have experienced many bouts of like loneliness and like
Mhm.
not feeling like I can connect with people, and I found joy so much as a child and as a young adult to make
Mhm.
people laugh. Like
yeah.
like I was like, oh, you enjoy being around, you feel comfortable around me? Great. Let me continue to make you comfortable. Let me be a clown.
Mhm.
Let me be bigger so that you feel comfortable. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I find a lot of, I guess, like connection through that. And then with the people that know me really well, I don't have to be as big.
Sure.
I can just be like, just squishy Azul, and I'm quieter
Mhm.
generally.
I like the way you've used the adjective squishy a couple times in this interview. Yeah, I like
think
it.
squishy is nice. Like squishy is like you just watered your plants, and it's like the earth is like squishy and they're getting
okay.
nourishment.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Or like squishy, like squishing a teddy bear. Like they're just squishy.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that. Squishy. When I think of the word squishy as not an explicit physical adjective, I think of it as like the feelings and the things that you can't always articulate really
Yeah.
well. you
Yeah.
know? Like this is ambiguous. This is squishy.
It's like a
you know?
melange of
Yeah.
things.
I love words.
Words
so
are fun.
So many words.
Wow.
Speaking of words, do you have another song with words you'd like
Yes,
to
we
play
have
for
a lot.
us?
So yeah, we're getting to this a lot faster than I thought we would.
Well, we can also keep chatting if you want a little more of a break.
It's under your
I'm
legs.
happy to.
Okay.
So this is the last song
Keep
we
yapping.
prepared.
Okay.
And oh my god, it's almost been an hour. Wow, time flies when you're having. Oh my god, these are all around my legs. Okay, here it goes.
Azul has made a little spider's web around her legs with the microphone.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a complete left turn. That's the other thing at my shows is that like I'll be haha funny, and then I'll be like, does anyone want to talk about difficult relationships? So this next song that we're gonna do, oh man, I wrote it about a friend of mine and the relationship that she went through, and I imbued parts of my own kind of like past relationship stuff also in there, and I just want to put like a little warning out there. This is a slow ballady song. Like this is the slowest one of all of them, and this is something that will probably be released in the next 16-ish months. The arrangement is an entire string quartet. So you guys get to hear it with piano today. Not that. We did not bring the string quartet.
Bethany has just brought in 5 cellos and
yeah. So I just want to do a quick shout out that this song, when it is released, will feature Shauna Tucker and Autumn Brand, and the arrangement is by Alex Thompson.
Amazing.
And this song is about falling in love with someone at a distance, finally coming together, and then they fall out of love with you. And then all this time that you've spent being in love with this person at a distance and then together, who are you outside of that kind of paradigm? So the song is called Stories.
Lovely. You're listening to WXDU Durham 80.7 FM. I'm in the studio with Azul Zapata, and we're about to hear her song Stories.
most stories of love, it started out so pretty, like every story of love, it didn't end that way. We were just two people in love with different versions of us, but we were stuck in the same old place day after day. Years go by, we never lose sight of the other's eyes. 'Cause being in love with other people can be so much fun. You and me, you and me, you and me, like most stories of love, in the middle we found our bliss, and like every story of love, we kept it going for as long as we could, until the same thing that happened to us happened to you. Only you fell in love with someone that wasn't me. Your heart went away, 'cause you wouldn't choose to stay. And here I am in the home we created, as I take all the pieces of you. I remember who I was even before you. I remember her. I choose her over hurt, over anger, over all that I feel. And this story of love ends when it all falls apart, like most stories of love. This one ends with you.
Ooh. It's really hard for me to start talking after you play these incredibly
so
moving
sorry.
pieces. So that's actually quite rude of you. Thank you so much for that. Wow,
You're
stories from Azul. stay tuned for the next 16 months.
There's other things
it'll
coming up
come.
before then.
Okay. So she says. But that was really moving. I am going to have to read another PSA, but sometimes I offer my guests to read PSAs.
Okay.
Are you interested?
Sure.
All right. Here you go. Some of it is scratched out, so just read the stuff in blue.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay.
You got this.
Here's a PSA. Durham's one and only Beaver Queen pageant is happening Saturday, June 1st from 4 to 7 p.m. at Duke Park. Join the fun with this year's contestants Norma Pat, Nosferat Tooth, Woody Wonka, Clint Eatswood, Kenny Loggins. That's so good. Wow. This annual event raises funds to preserve, protect, and restore a healthy living Ellerby Creek watershed, which runs through the Durham and ends at Falls Lake in Raleigh. The event is free and family friendly. Find more details and vote at beaverqueen.swell.gives.
Wow, masterfully done.
Wow.
I did take a lot of diction classes in college. I was going to do broadcast journalism at one point, and then I was told that I would be best behind the camera.
They're like, you can't make fart jokes live.
I was like, well, not for me then.
Not for me. Thank you for reading that.
You're welcome.
I've done that before, and people are like, why are you putting me on the spot?
I live
you
in
also
the spot.
just finished singing, but clearly you took to that with gusto.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you. So I just have a
got
couple more. Chill out. I have a couple more questions, and then you mentioned some sneaky, delightful mystery. So we'll get to that. Let's see. So you mentioned near the top of this how you prioritize having femmes, queer people, and people of color in your band or on the bills that you are sharing space with. And I think that's a really rad priority. I think it's really important. And hearing you talk about it's clearly well thought out from you. And I'm curious if you can tell me about like how that developed in the context of like an actual parameter you set for your band. Was this always something that you had in mind? I mean, you mentioned maybe in your early days playing, singing with the guy who had a guitar. Maybe that wasn't as like central as this criterion needs to be met. But so how did that develop? And then were there times where that wasn't being met? And if you're comfortable speaking about how that made you feel if it wasn't being met.
So
just curious.
So the criteria started with when I decided to be like my solo project.
Okay.
Like I wanted to be Azul, all the songs, all the music coming directly from me. So I was like, I can't be in a band with someone else and have this kind of like, lay down the law type of, idea. Mm-hmm. And so once I started to do my solo project, and it was hard. I've had so many different people play with me. Mm-hmm. And I'd have to say no to gigs because I couldn't get the thing that I wanted. I said, I'm not going to be the only woman on stage. Yeah. And since I've been my solo project, I don't think I've done a show where I'm either the only woman or the only queer person or the only person of color, or like I'm pretty sure since 2018 I haven't done a show that way. Even in my duo sets, it's TJ or it's Bethany or it's somebody else. Like I don't. If people want to go snooping and go try to figure it out, go ahead, be a sleuth, go ahead. I feel like there's better use of your time, but I'm pretty sure that I have never done a show since starting my solo project where I was the only woman or within my criteria. And I think I do things out of spite sometimes. And I think I just got tired of being told, oh, well, I don't know anybody. Oh, well, I don't don't know any women that play music, or I don't know any other queer people that play music.
I see.
Or I don't know anyone POC that plays this instrument, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, that's not an excuse. Like, we live in a world that's hyper connected. The internet exists. Like, go out and find them. Like, I found a guitar player on TikTok, and she lived in Raleigh, and I was like, now she's one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
She goes under the name Saint Josie, and she's an incredible, rad Asian trans woman, and she's so talented. And I found her because you just gotta go out and look for it. Like, I think it came out of spite, really, of just like, I'm gonna prove everybody wrong. Like, you can absolutely do this. I can feel myself getting heated right now. Calm down, Azul. Calm down.
You're good.
And I think some of like where this like churning happened, honestly, I'm gonna put this back on you, Spencer. Remember the jams that we used to go to?
I do.
We used to go to these really cool. That's how I met Spencer, was playing at Emerge in Raleigh and playing at these jams where I was typically
the only woman.
The only woman there.
Certainly the only woman performing.
The only woman performing for sure.
Yeah.
And I remember I would try to come, and I would bring people to come with me. And it's not that no one was actively saying, no, you can't do this. It was just the space and like the people in the space matter so much to be able, like, everyone needs to be so self-aware to be able to, like, I'm going to make space, not take up space. And that's hard to teach to people, mainly cis het white dudes, that they have so much they take up so much space without thinking about it, and they and it's hard to switch the perspective of saying like, oh, let me just make a little bit of room. It doesn't take away from my room. It doesn't take away anything. I'm actually could learn something, or like my space is going to be elevated by having this person there. And I've also tried to do the thing of like, it's only, women or it's only queer people. And I love those spaces too. But I want it to be mixed up all the time.
Yeah. I hear you.
And even at these things, I would go home and I'd be elated, but a part of me was like, man, I was the only woman on stage for 2 hours of 2 hours of incredible music.
Well,
and
sometimes.
There was a jam, guys.
Half the time. Sure.
But I would go home feeling like angry, and I was like, I got to put this anger somewhere. So it came from spite.
Yeah, spite is a valid human emotion. I would say it
can be a good motivator.
It can sometimes spiral into things that are not productive. But I think this is a case where it has actually been very productive.
Well, I also have people that check me. Like, I allow myself to be checked. Of like, hey, Azul, like, your mindset's a little bit closed right now, and I'd be like, oh, okay, you know what? It probably is. Let me just shake it out, take a break, take a breather, pause. You're getting a little angry. And being able to like just take a little pause is always important. But I think I have so many strong female or queer or people of color like friendships and collaborations that I value so much, and I want them to keep getting bigger and brighter. Like, I don't know, I always mess up this expression, but like rising tides raise all boats or ships or something. Is that's right?
I think that's it.
Correct.
Yeah. So like, I'm not the type of person, I think, that I want to just rock it off by myself.
Right.
Because I can't do anything by myself. Anything.
Right. I mean, none of us can. And, it is... I find myself using the expression a lot that, like, it's not pie. Like, if I eat a slice, that doesn't mean that there's less for you. It's, in fact, the opposite. It is rising tides lifting all boats. When somebody in the artistic community is doing well, and that brings everybody, the whole community up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like specter of capitalism makes the music industry really hard.
It does. It does. And
it's weird trying to monetize your art too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that is a whole conversation.
That's why, monetizing art is hard, but paying people for their time is easy.
That's a good way of putting it.
Monetizing art is hard. Paying people for their time should be easy.
Should be.
So I will bust my booty to make sure that I value the people that are around me for their time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I don't get jealous. I'm not saying that like I don't feel sometimes like the pressure. I am again I'm a woman in the scene. I'm not 20 something years old. I'm 31 turning 32 this year. Do I feel the pressure of aging while much younger female artists are doing way better than me? Do I feel that pressure? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then I have to think of like they haven't lived my life. I haven't lived their life. We're on completely different journeys.
Yeah.
And it is such a way. I also think about this quote. I'm going to mess it up, but Gabrielle Union, who I think is an incredible actor, she was talking about how she felt when she saw Kerry Washington get the role for Scandal. And she was like, I love Gabrielle Union because she just says what she says. And she was like, I was pissed. She was like, it made me feel so angry, and it made me feel, why not me? Why not me? And she like kept talking about that, and then she flipped it, and someone should go look up the video, but like it was very good of just like, if you have that much energy to give into the why not me, you are causing yourself to cave in, and if you allow that to cave in, you're never going to get anything. And so like when I start to feel like jealous or like the why not me kind of feeling, I'm like, I got to send that somewhere else. So I go out of my way to go and support somebody else.
Right.
And I'm going to show up to your show. I don't care where it is. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. And not just like, because that why not me is so...
just turns into a pity party.
It just turns into a pity party. It gives you wrinkles. Like, it's not cute. It's not cute.
And ultimately, we want to stay cute, folks.
Yeah,
that's
we're
the
all
money, fame,
if you take anything
fulfillment.
away from this interview,
Stay cute.
stay cute.
Stay shiny.
Stay squishy.
Cute, shiny, and squishy.
It's me.
That's goals. Yeah. All right. Thank you for waxing poetic on that.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
appreciate that.
Got on my soapbox a
Oh,
little.
sorry, I did not mean to be calling that out as an Azul, you're talking too much moment.
That's fine. I take a note.
You
when
were
I see
not.
it.
You were not talking. No. In fact, I have more things you should talk about, which is chiefly, you've mentioned something coming out in 16 months.
Oh, that's
and something in the summer.
Yeah.
What else is coming up on the docket that you're excited about?
Durham. This is a Durham radio station. Durham. I'm doing a show with a touring band called Animal Prince. They're coming into town, and we are also doing a show. Also on the bill is Alora Dash.
Amazing.
A star, a beautiful human, and just, you want to talk about a funny person. Alora Dash is a good time. And so Alora, Animal Prince, and myself on June 2nd, first weekend of Pride, at the Pinhook.
Oh, it's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be a good time.
Is that the Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
Even better.
Even better. I think it's even better because that means most of my musician friends can come.
That's
honestly
right.
true. Yeah.
Chase away the Sunday scaries.
Yes,
right.
chase
Come
away
to a show.
Yeah, I may or may not wear something that my booty is out, like I did for my last show.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so if that's not like a come see the show, I don't know what is.
What more do you want, people? Right.
Watch my gay drummer have to stare at my butt for an hour.
I think he will manage.
He managed.
Yeah,
he figured
yeah.
it. He was like, looks around, plays drums. So June 2nd, Alora Dash, Animal Prince, and myself. I'm headlining at
Sweet.
the Pinhook, and all the information is on the internet. I don't remember the time. I think I want to say it's like doors at 7, show at 8. I want to say that, but I'm not.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty standard.
I feel like that's good.
And yeah, comes shy away the Sunday scaries. That's something that's coming up.
Amazing.
I'm also playing at the Live After 5 on June 26th. And we're covering all different kinds of female musicians. So I'm going to be covering Adele, Tina Turner, Aretha Franklin, Cher.
Sweet.
I'm looking at Bethany.
I know. I'm trying to remember who else is in this.
There's a mix.
It's a lot.
There's a lot.
Sweet.
It's very fun. And that is in downtown Raleigh.
Sweet. On June 26th. Finish work up, come see a show.
Is that like an outdoor?
Yeah, it's an outdoor thing.
Yeah.
So it's like in downtown Raleigh. I think they set like a whole stage.
Yeah.
And then Alora Dash right after me is doing an entire set of Beyonce. So like it's gonna be
fun time.
so good.
It's gonna be good.
Like
June 26th.
so good.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
June 2nd and June 26th. Come out and see a show.
Okay. Sweet. Well, those are going to be amazing events. I can tell. Yeah. I'm also just getting very excited about summer. You know,
Yeah,
you
me
saying,
too.
Like Pride Month is coming. Outdoor shows. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, finally.
So,
Yeah.
So good.
I think we're at the part of the show where we need to see what this secret surprise thing is.
I think
that
it's
you're
time for the
talking
secret
about.
surprise.
So is there anything you want to preface
Yes.
your listeners?
So this is a song that's going to come out this summer. It's ready to go. I just have to finish up my like rollout plan for it. And does anybody like disco?
This is the part where the audience
This is where the audience
cheers.
goes.
They're all cheering in their
There's-
cars. You just
Uh-huh.
you can't
Yeah.
hear them.
I love disco. I think disco is an important part of musical history. There's so many different things that I could go on and on and on and on and on about. But the main thing is that disco never died. And it exists in every piece of popular culture that you can think of. You just got to look for it. So this is a little snippet, a little taste of Disco Never Died for your listening pleasure.
Awesome. You're listening to WXDU Durham, 88.7 FM. We're going to hear a sneak peek of Azul Zapata's song, Disco Never Died.
Call me when you want me. Whisper when you need me. Either way, I'm listening to hear you say my name. I wanna
feel the words ringing through the streets.
I wanna
Feel the words leaving your lips.
I wanna
Leave a love stain on your sweet skin. Disco never died at all.
You only knew me by one name.
Disco never died at all.
You only wanted a new stage. The people aren't just asking for it, they just want to feel it coming. We never left, it was just for the song. And now the night has come.
Wowza. That's going to be a rager to bump to. Yeah. All right, folks. That was just a taste. So when can people expect to hear that on the airwaves?
Summer,
Summer.
July-ish times.
Great.
Don't rush me.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's not you rushing me. It's myself.
Yeah.
That sense of like keep moving, keep putting stuff out.
Your shark.
Yeah, the shark
Uh-huh.
wants to. I would have released it like 2 weeks ago, but
Sure.
it's something I'm extremely proud of. It's something that my collaborators Alex Thompson and Brett Scott at B&B Audio put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
to get this ready for the summer, and I would be doing it a disservice if
To
I
rush it.
didn't do it properly. So I want it to be heard as I want to hear it through the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel the words.
Bring your
coming through.
boom boxes out, people.
Yeah. I wanna hear it bumping everywhere. So
Heck yeah.
I got to be very annoying on the internet for a little while.
What is life in modernity if not being annoying on the internet most of the time?
Releasing music is, ugh.
90% of being a musician,
Yeah.
I think, is being annoying on the internet
Yeah.
and wrapping cables. That's like most of what I do.
Oh yeah.
And then like 10% is actually playing music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But we'll we'll try to expand that
Yeah,
to 15, maybe.
Maybe
20?
a girl can dream.
Yeah.
But no, this song sounds really great. I feel like I can unabashedly promote it because it's not my song. Like I'm in the band, but it's your song, so it's a lot easier to promote stuff that isn't yours. It's great. I think it's the best thing you've ever done. And
Heck
I'm
yeah.
gonna cry.
It sounds.
No.
I heard the master, and it sounds so good.
Thank you.
Well, I can't wait to hear the whole thing,
Thanks.
as well as everyone else listening, I'm sure. I think that's about our time. Thank you both so much for coming into the studio. Is there any sort of parting words you want to share with listeners, or any just last things about?
Stay squishy.
I know.
Okay.
Stay shiny. Stay
shiny.
squishy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Keep shining.
Yeah. Okay. keep shining on, folks. Again, we have been chatting with Bethany and Azul. Please check out Azul's show on June 2nd at the Pinhook. That's in Durham, Sunday, June 2nd. And June 26th, live after 5 in downtown Raleigh. Amazing stuff. Again, you're listening to WXDU Durham 80.7 FM. We're going to hit up a little more Ella Fitzgerald and then play some, I don't know, play some jazz or something for the next 30 minutes. But thank you both so much for coming in. This was
Thank you
such
so
a blast.
much for having us.
Thank you.
All right.
Love you, friend.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.